So I would like to show you this book because it's in relation to these chess pieces. In the book they present them here, and they say that the first time they were used was at this tournament, okay, Bad Niendorf. And so I wanted to see some games. Unfortunately, in the book there are no games of that tournament. Luckily, inside the chess base we have all the games of every tournament played, and that's the important thing, right? So the tournament was won by Stalberg Gideon, that I think he was Swedish, and he would become a grandmaster and one of the top 20 players in the 1940s, 50s. Honestly, they said Stalberg is such a strong player, let's see the games, because I don't know anything about him. The second player is this Richter, Karl. Also about him, I don't know anything. So I believe to put a couple of games by the winner of this tournament to show also the quality of the game played in the time, it was important, at least for me as a chess player. In any case, I got you covered because I collected all the games of the tournament. Some honestly are blank, they didn't have a score sheet, and so they just put the result. One is commented by Alekin in German, I cannot understand much, and so I tried to comment them by myself. The first game I want to show you is Stalberg Gideon against Brinkmann Alfred. It was played on 24 of June 1934. Okay, and just a second, I want to check one thing. Yeah, I check in the book, and in fact it says this chess set, its use in that tournament in June for the fourth time is still not mass produced, but it's the fourth tournament in which you can see these pieces, okay? So historically it's kind of exciting because we can watch Stalberg Gideon playing chess nearly 90 years ago practically, and then we can see with the same pieces that they were playing in that time. So it's like to have a time machine in a sense. So d4, d5, c4, e6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, bishop e7, and bishop f4, making the people that love the London happy, but I'm sorry, the pawn is here instead of being there. So generally in the London the pawn would be here, and this would be the formation, right? Instead here we have the pawn that is already attacking the center, and probably that's kind of better. Why? Because it's putting pressure in the center. However, it plays e6. So he was afraid of knight b5 and taking here, I don't know why, but okay. e3 and castle. Rook c1, and it seems c5 was a novelty, at least for what Fritz 19 consider this. Before they played d takes c4, and this d takes c4, it was played by Stolz, another participant of this tournament, okay, against Floor in 1931, so 3 years before. And why is this interesting? Because in a sense we also see the opening theory, how it's developing in the time. Notice we are just at move 7. We are just at move 7. White takes on c5, black takes on c4, and now there is queen takes d8. rook takes d8. And here things are starting to be interesting, because if you think about it, if you are white, who is better in this position of the two? White has a chance to attack this, while this can be defended. And so that's the interesting part, in my opinion. And how? Like this, knight a4. So the problem is you cannot play this because, oops, there is the en passant, right? So how do you attack that? For example, why didn't play this? Probably because he would lose it right away, so it doesn't matter. But this is an interesting thing. As you can see, sometimes it's difficult to understand right away why one of the two players didn't play a certain move, and we need to look into it. And that's the problem with chess, in a sense. Why do I say a problem? Because you see, if you see a soccer game, you understand immediately who is better and why. Here, I see this move and I think, but why he didn't play that? What is the reason? Maybe because of knight b6, right? So, as you can see, I needed to have a certain understanding about chess in order to find a refutation to a certain move that was or was not played in the game. And that's probably the biggest obstacle in chess to be mass popularized, because if you don't have an engine with an evaluation bar on the side, how do you understand who is better? I tell you white is better, and my reason is because this is gonna fall. That's a fact. And maybe white will be able to defend this. I didn't see the games, okay? But I know, I just collected them, made them analyzed by Fritz 19, but I didn't have the time to see them. But the point is, just watching the position, I can see that this is gonna fall, and maybe this is not gonna fall. If this is not gonna fall, it's a thorn in black territory. It's a problem because white is start to have an advantage that is what? One pawn. Now, maybe in that time the technique was not developed enough to win with one pawn. I'm pretty sure that an engine with one pawn will win no matter what, especially against a human. In any case, let's go on and let's see how it went. Knight bd7, rook takes e4, like I thought. So now white has an advantage, and it's a fact, okay? However, was there something better? For example, this move would have been better, because in any case this is gonna fall, right? So you don't have to take it right away. Why this is better? Because then black has only two squares here, and he must go here, and this becomes less active, and then white will eventually take control of the d file, because black doesn't have control anymore. So maybe instead of rook takes e4, but this is not going anywhere, bishop c7 was better, maybe, okay? The judgment obviously will be given by those that use engine, and the engine will tell you what to think, okay? So after rook takes e4, black continued with knight d5, and white plays bishop e2. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, white should have... we are at move 11. White needs to try to bring this rook into the game, and so bishop e2 makes sense, right? b5, c takes b6. Okay. knight 7 takes b6, knight takes b6, and knight takes b6. Now obviously next move is rook c1. Okay, he just went back because he was attacked. Now there is this problem for black, sorry, that is attacking both. So black needs to solve that, but let's again watch the position for a second. Who is better? At this point you know that white is better because he has a queen side majority. What does a queen side majority means? Means that when we have exchanged all the pieces, all these wonderful pieces, white will win because he will be able to create a pass pawn, and the pass pawn generally become a queen. Okay, so that's why here you can already say what the two players want to do. White wants to exchange all the pieces. Black doesn't want that because he needs to find a way to neutralize that queenside majority. So black continue with bishop b4, check. And this is not bad because guess what? King f1. So this is out of the game at the moment, right? Bishop b7, and now we can say that black has finished the development. We are at move 16. Why do we say black has finished the development? Because I generally consider the opening development over when the two rooks are connected and all the pieces are in the game. White instead needs to finish the development. How? Probably something like this or this and this in order to bring the rook into the game. Otherwise, what does this mean? That you are playing with a rook less. Because if you keep it in there and you don't move it, do you really have it? No, you don't. Okay, so a3, bishop d6 to avoid that fork, bishop takes d6, rook takes d6, and knight d4. Okay. Yeah, again, I think also this is an idea, because you need to bring this out in some way, so I don't know, but interesting, right? Okay, e5, and knight b3, rook c8, and now white plays f3. So his idea is to play king f2 in order to rook takes c1, knight takes c1, and knight c4. Wow, beautiful move. Because imagine, if you take here, you have rook d1, you have to move a king, and you lose that. So that's kind of interesting. Beautiful, beautiful moves, yeah. Knight d3. So yes, the funny thing here is that black now is trying very hard to recover the pawn, but maybe he's not gonna be able to do it, and that's the real problem here, right? So e4, knight c5, nice, tack, tack. And here he plays e takes f3. Okay. Obviously, once more, guys, you must be careful what's going on here. White takes here, obviously, but you cannot take this. If you take this, it's terrible because of this, right? So I don't even want to know how it ends, but I know that it ends badly for white. So obviously this is the move he should play, I think, right? Okay, and after that black continue with bishop d5. Obviously takes it off from the knight e4, rook c6, and now obviously things go really bad for black. The game is practically over. Knight takes a6, because if it takes back, this is still in there, it's a mess, and clearly the endgame is won by white. So obviously black goes back, but it's kind of too late. Knight b4, rook d6, bishop takes c4. Like I told you, at this point white wants to exchange everything because he has won the game. When you are with this kind of advantage, imagine 5 pawns against 3, another possible pass pawn here. Terrible, definitely terrible. So king e1, he doesn't want to give him this. f5, e takes f5, king f7, rook g1. Finally the rook tries to come into the game. King f6, rook g2, very slow, rook d7, and rook d2. Okay, and white is winning obviously. Okay, rook e7, king f2, king takes f5, and the final game is knight c6, and here black gave up. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, this was the fourth time this chess set was used, and I understood it thanks to this book. Unfortunately, there were no games from that tournament. If you don't mind, guys, I will also show you another game from this tournament in which this chess set was used for the fourth time in history, and then it started being mass produced. They say it produced like 5,000 units of this chess set a year. For what I know, because I spoke with other chess collectors, chess set collectors, and I discovered that in reality the same set was practically still in production in the 1960s and 1970s. So practically there are different versions of this set from the 1934 when it was used for the fourth time. Thank you for watching.